The $15 mistake almost every beginner makes on day one will cost you fish, time, and sanity. I'll show you exactly what gear you need to avoid that disaster and actually catch something. Monofilament line is the beginner's best friend because it's forgiving and easy to handle. Berkley Trilene XL is limp enough to cast smoothly but strong enough to land bass or trout. A 10 pounds test is ideal for most freshwater fishing, light enough to feel subtle bites, strong enough to handle most fish you'll encounter. Buy a 330-yard spool for about $12. It's enough to rest ring your reel twice with change left over. Avoid braided line as a beginner, it's slick, tangles easily, and requires a heavier leader, which adds complexity. Check the label for XL, extra limp. Older Trilene versions are stiffer and harder to cast. Hooks are where most beginners mess up. Gamakatsu Octopus hooks are sharp enough to penetrate a fish's mouth on the first strike, which is critical for beginners who panic and reel too slowly. Size 6 is perfect for panfish like bluegill or crappie, and it's versatile enough for trout if you downsize later. A 25-pack costs about $8, cheap insurance against dull hooks. Avoid chemically sharpened hooks, they look sharp but bend under pressure. Instead, look for hooks with a needle point. Gamakatsus are machined to a razor edge. Dull hooks mean lost fish and frustration. A tackle box isn't just storage, it's your mobile workshop. The Plano 3700, $15, has adjustable compartments, a built-in ruler, and a clear lid so you can see your gear at a glance. Beginners lose hooks and weights in unorganized bags. This box keeps everything separated and easy to find. Look for a box with at least 30 compartments, enough for hooks, weights, bobbers, and lures without overcrowding. Avoid soft-sided bags, they tear and don't protect your gear. The right box turns chaos into confidence. Now that you've got the gear, avoid these 3 beginner mistakes that ruin your first trips. First, don't over-tighten your drag, set it so you can pull line with your hand, not with a tool. Second, don't cast with your elbow locked, use a smooth wrist flick to avoid backlash. Third, don't fish the same spot all day, move every 20 minutes if you're not getting bites. And here's the kicker, don't buy fishing kits from big box stores, they're packed with useless junk and cheap line that tangles constantly. Stick to the gear on this list, and you'll avoid the most common pitfalls. You now have everything you need to start fishing without wasting money or getting frustrated. The ugly stick combo, Trilene line, Gamakatsu hooks, basic tackle, and a Plano box are all you need to catch fish on your first trip. Links to every item are in the description below. If you found this guide helpful, subscribe for more beginner hobby guides. We'll help you avoid the mistakes most people make before they even start.